Okay, ready for this? We're talking flux capacitor.
Sounds pretty scientific, right?
Yeah, like straight out of physics class.
But then you put it in a DeLorean.
And boom, instant pop culture icon.
That's the brilliance of Back to the Future.
It takes these big, complex ideas.
And makes them fun.
Totally. Entertaining and thought-provoking all at once.
Exactly.
So, today, let's unpack how this film became such a mega hit.
Sounds good.
And we're going to start with, well, your connection to the movie.
Getting personal. I like it.
You know, it's interesting. The film, it kind of captures that feeling we all have.
Which one?
That, what if I could go back kind of thing.
Oh, you mean like tweaking the past?
Yeah. Maybe avoid some cringy moments.
I think we all have those.
Speaking of the past, you mentioned a scene that really stuck with you.
I did.
Yeah, something about Marty McFly in a photo, right?
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah, the scene where Marty sees his siblings start to disappear from a picture because he's messing with his parents' meeting.
Yikes. Heavy stuff.
It's a visual, you know? You can see the consequences like rippling out.
Makes you think, right?
Yeah, even small actions, they can change everything.
Totally. That scene, it's so tense. Like, you feel the weight of those consequences on Marty.
Like his whole world's about to unravel.
Exactly.
I think that's why it stuck with me.
It's powerful stuff. So today, on this deep dive...
Yes.
We're going to explore how Back to the Future got that balance right.
Right.
You know, the fun, the meaning.
Uh-huh.
Start with that memory of yours, that photo scene.
Okay.
Then we'll go behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
See what almost went wrong with the movie.
Ooh, juicy.
And then we'll zoom out. Look at the film's impact,
Yeah.
you know, like culturally.
How it shaped things.
Big picture stuff.
I'm curious, actually.
What about?
Do you think your take on the film will change after today? You know, after all this analysis?
Ooh, good question. I'm kind of bracing myself, honestly, you know, for some myth busting.
Oh, there's going to be some myth busting.
But before we go all film critic,
Yeah.
I have a confession.
A confession, okay.
Total Back to the Future geek back in the day.
No way.
Yeah. I even tried making a hoverboard once.
No way. Like, really?
Plywood, roller skates, the whole deal.
Did it work?
Nope. Spoiler alert. Epic fail.
I love it. You know, you weren't alone in those hoverboard dreams.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the film, it sparked this craze, even though, well...
It was all like science fiction.
Exactly. But it captured people's imaginations.
That's what's so cool about it.
Totally. It makes you believe, even in the impossible.
For sure. Okay, let's get back to that photo scene you mentioned.
Sure.
Why did it leave such a mark on you?
It really made me think, you know, about how our lives are all connected.
Oh, like how everything's kind of intertwined?
Right. And how even tiny choices, they can have these huge consequences that you don't see coming.
It's a reminder, isn't it, that our life, they're not like these isolated things.
Definitely. Not at all.
We're all part of this bigger web. You know?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's switch gears a bit.
Where are we going?
Behind the scenes. Get ready for some Hollywood drama. Because believe it or not, making Back to the Future, it was, well, kind of chaotic.
Was it now?
Almost as unpredictable as time travel itself.
I can't wait to hear this. Picture this. You're the director. You've already started shooting. And then, bam, you realize your lead actor, he's just not working out.
Oh, no.
That's what happened to Robert Zemeckis with Eric Stoltz.
Wait, hold up. Eric Stoltz?
Yeah, he was the original Marty McFly.
Whoa. Seriously, I had no clue.
Yep, it's true.
So why the switch? Was he just, like, awful?
It wasn't really about Stoltz being bad, more like, the tone was off.
Oh.
Zemeckis, he wanted Marty to be, you know, lighter, more comedic.
Makes sense. You got to have that balance, right, with the whole time travel heavy stuff.
Exactly. But Stoltz, he was known for, like, dramatic roles.
Intense guy.
Yeah, he brought that intensity to Marty, but it didn't quite fit.
So they, like, recast him in the middle of filming.
They did. Huge gamble. Think about it. The time, the money.
And the risk of, like, messing up the whole movie.
Big time. But Zemeckis, he knew it had to be done.
And then enter Michael J. Fox.
Exactly.
He nailed it. That charm, the wit, perfect Marty.
And that energy. It's what made the character so iconic.
Talk about a close call. But even with Fox on board, I bet they still had a ton of issues, right? Like, wasn't the post-production schedule crazy tight?
Oh, yeah. They only had like 6 weeks to wrap everything up.
6 weeks?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Oh, we're talking about all the special effects, too. This was way before CGI was a...
Right, right. Mid-'80s. So how'd they pull it off? Just like a ton of practical effects.
Actually, it's pretty interesting. Compared to today's movies, with all the computer graphics, Back to the Future only had a handful of visual effects shots. Maybe 30 or so.
Really? I would have guessed way more.
They did a lot with miniatures, clever camera work, stuff like that.
Like that shot of the DeLorean getting struck by lightning when it hits 88 miles per hour.
Exactly. That's a great example.
How'd they do that back then?
Well, they used a miniature DeLorean, a model of the town square,
Clever.
and a very precisely controlled explosion for the lightning. Then they enhanced it with animation, frame by frame.
Wow. Talk about dedication.
It wasn't just about solving the technical stuff, though. This approach, it really shaped the look of the film.
Gave it that unique style.
Exactly. And because they use so many practical effects, the film, it still holds up today.
Timeless.
Exactly. Even with all the, time travel craziness, it still feels grounded in reality.
Okay, so we've seen how Back to the Future beat the odds with the casting drama, the special effects limitations.
Right.
But the impact of this film, it goes way beyond that. I mean, there were sequels, an animated series, even a musical.
There was.
Yeah. So what can we learn from all that?
Yeah.
About its legacy in media?
I think it's really interesting how the franchise, it kind of reflects this bigger trend in media.
Which is?
That drive to, keep a good thing going. Sometimes even when it's maybe best to just leave it alone.
Like, don't mess with a classic.
Yeah. Think about the sequels.
Mixed bag for sure.
Some people loved them, some hated them.
They tried to build on the whole time travel concept, but...
They didn't quite capture that same magic as the original.
Right. And that brings up a good question. When do sequels, or like adaptations in general, when do they actually add something?
Versus just, trying to cash in.
Tough call. Sometimes they can, breathe new life into a story. Other times it feels forced.
It's a delicate balance.
Totally.
Yeah.
In Back to the Future, they threw in things like alternate timelines, futuristic gadgets.
But some fans felt like they strayed too far from what made the first film so special.
Speaking of gadgets, can't forget the hoverboard.
Oh, yeah. The hoverboard.
Yeah. Captured everyone's imagination. We're still waiting for that one to become real, huh?
Still waiting. But it brings up another cool aspect of the film's legacy. How it dealt with technology.
Like, it wasn't spot on with its predictions.
Not exactly, no. But it tapped into this fascination we have with the future.
And the idea that we can shape it.
Yeah. It made you feel like anything was possible.
The film was optimistic.
Very much so.
Which is interesting because, well, today, I feel like we're a bit more anxious about technology.
Oh, for sure.
Like AI, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, are we as hopeful about the future now as we were back then?
That's a really good question. Maybe Back to the Future, it can remind us to, hold on to that sense of wonder.
Even with all the craziness going on in the world right now.
Exactly. It's about that possibility, that things can get better.
So we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
We have. Casting, special effects, sequels.
Even hoverboards. But there's one more thing I want to dig into.
Oh.
The darker side of Back to the Future.
The darker side.
Yeah. Like, what if the film had explored, the ethical dilemmas of time travel?
Interesting. The film does touch on consequences a bit, right?
Right. Like with Biff and that alternate 1985.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's mostly, lighthearted.
Yeah.
Fun.
Exactly. So imagine, like, a Back to the Future 4.
Okay.
That really dives into those moral gray areas.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
Okay, what if Marty had to make this impossible choice? Like, save someone he loves.
Uh-huh.
But by changing the past, even though he knows it could, destroy the future.
Wow. That's heavy.
Right. Or what if Doc Brown, he, accidentally creates some terrible outcome?
Because of something he changed in the past.
Yeah, and there's no way to undo it.
Ooh. That would be intense.
It'd make you think, right, about the responsibility that comes with messing with time.
Totally. It's like, how much are you willing to risk?
And this could even connect to, what we're dealing with today.
What do you mean?
Technology, AI, genetic engineering. We're making these huge leaps forward, but
we don't always know where it's going to lead.
Exactly. So maybe like Back to the Future 4, it could be this cautionary tale.
A warning to be careful, to think about the consequences of what we're creating.
Yeah, like a reminder that our choices, they matter.
They really do.
I know it'd be a big shift for the franchise, going this dark.
It would be.
But it could also spark some really important conversations, right?
Right.
About ethics, about technology, about the future.
It would definitely make people think.
And that's what's so cool about Back to the Future, I think.
It is.
Even though it's this, like, fun 80s adventure, it has these layers, these ethical questions that are still relevant today.
It makes you question things.
It does. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Back to the Future,
Our deep dive.
I want to leave you with this. If you had that DeLorean, where would you go?
Ooh, good question.
And more importantly, would you actually change anything?
Knowing what we know now,
Exactly. Knowing the risks, the ripple effects, would you take that chance?
it's something to think about. Maybe the real journey, it's not about going back in time
It's about understanding the choices we make right now.
and how they shape the future.